Well, I'm finally getting close enough to finish on this that I would like to share it a bit. So this is a Tilmor 520 converted to battery electric. I've still got this cover off. Got a battery pack here instead of a diesel engine. So this is a quartet of 3 kilowatt hour suitcases from Standard Battery, and 48 volt pack, and then it runs in. If I tip the seat forward, you can peek under the seat and see the PMAC, or brushless DC, so permanent magnet synchronous motor. That's a Motenergy ME 1114, and then the controls. I'm going to go around to the other side. I've got a bit more space. Not a lot of space, but so the motor is permanently mated to the original 2-speed transmission, which is acting as a reduction unit, and then it goes down to the diff is actually integrated, and then half shafts out to the 2 final drives, final reductions. The rest of the electric conversion, this is Sevcon Gen 4. I can't remember what size. I think it's called size 4. It's like a 400 or a 600 amp peak. It's been a while since I was dealing with it, so I can't remember. And then Sevcon clear view display, and all the other controls I've redone from scratch. Trying to get them to look as much like the Tilmor controls as possible, so that it's similar to the 520. And I got the original gauges somewhat working, though water temp and you know, there are a bunch of things that are irrelevant, but at least I'm feeding this one 12 volts so it doesn't show an error. And I think I have ground speed from there's a pulse ring down here on the parking brake drum that should feed me pulses that should still, I can't remember which one it is. That one I think is miles per hour. So yeah, this one, I should have switched it to kilometers per hour. I think I did, in terms of which input's feeding it. At any rate, ramble. The more important, the front hitch I just finished. So up there, originally you'd have a bunch of plumbing and then a hydraulic cylinder running here, pushing on that moment arm to crank the instrument hitch through, but I've instead got it switched through a couple of joystick switches. The front implement hitch also has a speed control, so with a speed pot I can determine how fast it goes. So I'll run it through that's slow, that's full speed, and it also knows where its limits of travel are, so that even if it's running full speed, it slows itself down rather than a hard stop. So that's a fully electric with no hydraulic components, but it's a big, burly, I can't see it very well from there. It's a really substantial electric actuator from Thomson Linear that used to be Warner, I think. So yeah, that's an XD linear actuator, and it should be able to lift as much as the hydraulic original at the same speeds, and it's running at 48 volts, so that the current isn't out of control, and it works really well. They are not cheap, but they're pretty good. And the rear implement actuator is a smaller, it's like a kid brother, the Thomson HD series. So again, it's just cranking on a moment arm to lift these 2 lower arms, and it also works okay. It's a little bit noisier, but you know, fast enough and strong enough for a cultivating tractor, where the rear implement hitch is kind of like the secondary accessory. Often it's just track sweeps and not carrying so much weight. So yeah, otherwise, conversion work. These are the power distribution modules. The top one is fuses and a couple of relays. Those relays I think I ended up not even using. Lower is maxi fuses for the bigger loads, and a couple of large relays that are used for 12 volt accessories. If you have a big 12 volt accessory, you can plug it in here. I feel like they have 40 amps, maybe 40 amps at 12 volts. What's that, like 600 watts? Something like that. But basically you can get 1 horsepower for an accessory, front or rear. That lets you, for instance, put a Wizard vacuum seeder on the belly mount and run the fans electrically at 12 volts. And otherwise, in here you can see that's the back of the Sevcon motor controller, finned heat sink. And then down here we have a DC-DC. My recollection is it's like 100 amp DC-DC. And virtually every connection in here is a watertight Deutsch connector wherever possible. The power distribution for all the 12 volt loads is through these multi-blocks that I like. And then there you're seeing the back side of a pair of circuit breakers. One for the 48 volts and one for the 12 volts. I can't even tell which is which. That's 100 amps, so it must be the 12 volt. And this one's just 50. So yeah, got horn, emergency stop, and then another emergency stop. It's like a full-on battery disconnect, and also an SB to be able to, big SB 350 to be able to pull the battery pack. So I still got to fill, I guess there's a shield missing here, and in this big cavity I'm going to mount a shelf to put the onboard charger on in there. And that's among the last things. There's a USB outlet here in the glove box, so you can charge your phone and keep track of things in there. But yeah, wakey wakey. The original kit was bought, the conversion kit was bought from Electric Motorsport years ago, and I've gotten a little bit of help from them tuning the motor parameters, but I've redone all the wiring. We got, that's what, marker lights for travel and headlights, and 4-ways. There are a couple work lights that I haven't yet connected. This one is a road versus field mode selector, so that it'll have more torque and lower speed control for field parameters or for field operations, and then higher speed and probably regen for road travel. And then these two control the relays that deliver power to the kind of the accessory outlet up front or in the rear. So, oh yeah, and then there's this is in the interest of making it easier to control your speed, we have a pedal pot as your main speed input, but this lets you set a ceiling, and it says it's max speed. And so if I roll it all the way clockwise, then I have the full 0 to 5 volt throttle signal. But as I dial it back, I'm cutting off the top end, and so I can figure out what my correct speed is and then limit it with this, and then I can just line up on my crop row and pin the foot throttle and not have to worry about modulating with my feet. So yeah, this is a Thiessen converted Tilmor 520E, the only one in existence, and the nicest electric cultivating tractor that I've ever worked on. so far.